Hey guys, how you going? I'm just going to say that from now on. How you going? Okay. Forget what I said yesterday about Trump advertising on my YouTube thing. I think I'm about to lose it completely. Not lose it as in go off. I mean lose it as in lose my advertising. I'm lucky to get advertising every third or fourth video. I think it's going to disappear eventually, and I might disappear with it, but look, I'll find a way back. Okay, I totally believe this. This is Patriot XV11, which is 17. I had to think about that for a minute. The old Roman numerals. Okay, I haven't used them in ages. What if I told you there are multiple cures for cancer, but they are suppressed because cancer is worth $200 billion a year? I believe it. What if cures already exist? What about the billions public, private, government provided to fund cure? Dev? Sheep. These people are sick, and you know who. And this is all from the board. We really should go back and start reading them from the beginning. I really think that would be a good idea, because I think we're just about to start what we've just read, all of it over the last 2 or 3 years. Make sure the list of resignations remains updated. Important. When does Big Pharma make money? Curing or containing? Cancer, AIDS, etc. Mine will be blown by chain of command. Money, power, control. People are simply in the way. Slaves, sheep, pawns. Mass extinction events designed to decrease threat level of population. Gun control. Wars, fake, top-happy back-end deal. Election rigging, control. Your voice does not matter. Pharma Class D. Water, air, chemicals pushed for home use cleaning. Cancer, baby on floor, hands in mouth. The start. So this starts with your cleaning, your floor chemicals that you clean with, and all the way up to everything that I think everything we use. I think all soap, all shampoo. My children had a really bad reaction to Johnson & Johnson products when they were babies. I had to actually use Cussons, although I don't think they're any better. To be honest, I think most of our food, water, like they say, water, air, everything, it's all designed to give us the big C. Vaccines, but not all. Tobacco, opioids, ultimate win, death, and money. The Fed, Rothschild, conspiracy. UK, Germany, 5 days. Choice is yours. Revelations, enough is enough. A society that keeps cures a secret in an effort to sell medications for huge profits is not a civilized society. It is a mental institution ruled over by psychopaths. And I do believe that. That is the end of that thread. And I will include the link in the description of the video. Then I found this interesting thread. Hollywood reporter, Mike Wolfpack 100, I don't know who this is. Proudly defected TV producer. Okay, he is a, where we go on, or he's saying he is. 1. At Making Memories, you asked for it. Okay, it's time to discuss the 800-pound elephant in the room. That elephant, Tim Ballard, and our rescue. Multiple New York Times best-selling author, Hollywood movies, approximately $60 million collected through their 501c3 charity. Tim is a Utah Mormon. Cool. Weird stuff, adoption stuff with Paul Pedersen over there, but that's neither here nor there. Tim is a Freemason. He also does his best to defend the occult symbolism of his Freemason bloodlines. Inverted pentagrams on Mormons' temples. And I'll put these links down below so you can come and have a look at all of these for yourself. Tim and OUR love the Ashton Kutcher. Ashton is apparently smarter than all of you, even though he has no education. His software apparently helps Tim save thousands upon thousands of children from being trafficked each year. Where's this proof? Real man what? Again, OUR loves that Ashton. Here he is giving a heartfelt performance about how he's painfully watched help thousands of children with this brilliant Thorn facial recognition software. No tears? FYI, is that an acting coach behind him? Remember that interesting post? What did it say? Read carefully. Now read it again. The more you know. International child traffickers are now the hunted. Western humanitarian workers sexually exploiting kids in Haiti. And it says, read very carefully. Child trafficking victims who've spent their formative years servicing the carnal desires of men, often foreigners who are 3, 4, 5 or 6 times their age. Their madam tells me that many of their customers are Western humanitarian workers who've come here to help rebuild Haiti after the recent run of natural disasters. The more you know. Let's take a look at what happened when American Crime Journal investigated OU rescue. Things get quite interesting. Keep in mind, I believe ACJs are playing down the child trafficking narrative stats in America, yet very informative series otherwise. And this is Operation Underground Railroad. And I'll let you go and look at that. Mad Street tweet cred to @HatWannabe for putting this initial thread together, as the OUR story didn't exactly sit right with him. Interesting stuff. And there's another thread in here, which I might go back to in a minute. Let's circle back to OUR's love for Ashton Kutcher. You know who else loved Ashton, right? No Name McCain. Ashton got a cushy seat on the child trafficking team with the likes of Linda Rothschild. Fancy. Hey, wait, what do we know about this institute? Oh yeah, the McCain Institute was laundering money. Yeah, that's right. Very, very valuable info in this Steemit thread. However, why are all the videos scrubbed? Oh yeah, that's because what controlled op punks do to cover their deep state butts. Let's go through the scrapbook a little more. Did I mention how much Mr. Tim B loves him some Ashton? I did already? Oh well, too bad. There's even more of the Tim Ashton bromance brewing. You all know that Tim from OUR Rescue was C_A in Homeland Security up until 2013, right? Great. So he served during the Bush administration and Obama. Well, he would have worked under Hillary too. So Clinton Silsby's tried taking 33 kids from Haiti. 33. So where was Tim Ballard during Hillary's Haiti kidnapping op? Surely he wouldn't let that happen, right? That real Donald Trump knew the deal. In fact, before the 2000 election, he confronted Hillary about stealing a village of children. So why would it real Donald Trump put Tim Ballard in the spotlight to help with human trafficking? Remember, it's not just Trump fighting this war, it's you too. If you fight with Trump, he might want to know who. You might want to know what you're fighting. Optics. So let's talk about the Nazarene Fund, Glenn Beck, not a fan, and Wayfair. You all know Wayfair Gate seems pretty damn obvious. What do Glenn and Tim think about it? I'm still wondering where the dollars go. Where's the proof or rescue? So it's Underground Railroad has spent decades fighting. Okay, Tim Ballard talks at Google's and apparently has great relationship with them. Now you know damn well Google hates you, me and the Trump admin, so why do they love Ballard? Beats me. Ballard has some explaining to do. I've spent months gathering information on him and OUR. I'd like to hear what him and Beck have to say about all these coincidences. Where's the money? The only reason I started looking into Tim is because he always looks nervous. Okay, and then we go back. Oh yeah, the McCain, yeah, okay. Very valuable info in this Steemit thread, however all the videos have been scrubbed. I just read that. Let's go through the scrapbook a little more. Did I mention how much? Yes, we did. Okay, so all those were in the thread that I just read. I didn't realise. Sorry guys, I don't know how to work Twitter, so I thought there was more information inside the other one. Okay. And that does seem to be the end of it. But I would advise everybody to watch that. So, Operation Underground Railroad. Be wary, because they have ties. And last but not least, this is from Dr. Russell McGregor at Hill AU Deep State. Thread very important. Have we outsourced verification and creation of the Victoria COVID outbreak to the Chinese Communist Party? The Victorian second wave is being used by the American MSN to demand urgent mail-in voting for the November 2020 election. The purpose is to build a winter surge narrative by voting in USA is unsafe. Mail-in votes will be fraudulent and allows for the defeat of POTUS. And Jacinta Ardern from New Zealand just did the same thing. And apparently put off her elections or something. Wonder why. However, many Australians do not understand that there are gaps in the testing process that could confer full control or formulation of the outbreak to the CCP. Disclosure: I'm a deregistered doctor. I believe that external manipulation is extremely remote but practically possible. As background, we know the Victorian Premier, equivalent to state governor in the US, Dan Andrews, is a pure deep state criminal. And he was ready for Hillary. I don't even like looking at them. And I don't like seeing the violence anymore. I saw one on Twitter and I shared it, and then I did realise, I thought about it and thought, it's not really good sharing that anymore. I don't want to see it. I already know, so it's heartbreaking for those of us who know and are awake to be seeing all this, because we already know it's all going on. There have been many instances of Labor Party politicians in Australia being integrated with Chinese money and the CCP. Dan Andrews is the head of the Labor Party in Victoria. I'm telling you, anyone who has Labor running their state is in trouble. That's why New South Wales isn't shut down yet. Very important to note is that we have had mass importation of Chinese testing kits selectively into Victoria. These testing kits use the RT-PCR technology, reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction testing kits. Who makes these kits? Kits are made by the Beijing Genomics Institute, BGI. So I will say this again. Essentially, only Victoria has imported these Chinese kits. The other states rejected BGI and said they had capacity to ramp up production of Aussie kits. Well, that makes sense. That's why my whole family in New South Wales has tested negative. The BGI kits were sourced by Minderoo, an Australian company with a long history of deals with China. The Health Minister made a unilateral decision to get these kits despite objection by the relevant body, the PTA, Pathology Technology Australia. PTA filed an audit saying that there was more than enough technology in the field. No tenders were made and the decision was to exclude Australian companies. No transparent reasons were given. Capacity to ramp up production existed. The TGA, the Therapeutic Goods Administration, made a special legal exempt to grant BGI fast-track access to the Australian market. The TGA is equivalent to the American FDA. So Minderoo procured 10 million test kits from BGI in April. How on earth did they know Victoria wouldn't need them? Only 500,000 were required by May in all of Australia. The cost for 10 million was 189 million Australian dollars, or 136 million US dollars. There were also BGI proprietary platforms, machines, reagents supplied to read the results. Minderoo got an extra $320 million, which is US $230 million, from the Australian government for procurement. Minderoo is a violent deep state Trump-hating company, pathologically so. This particular deal made massive profits for BGI, all paid for by Australian taxpayers. The BGI testing kits were flown into Tullamarine Airport, Melbourne, on the Chinese Airlines for delivery to private pathology practices in Victoria. And there goes some of your Chinese planes coming in. There are products coming in too. They have been bought in batches and intervals since mid-May, just before the Victorian outbreak began. The Australian Strategic Policy Institute, ASPI, has written reports that BGI is a national security threat. BGI has been accused of being an arm of the CCP and building a genetic database of Western populations as well as non-Han ethnic populations. This is ostensibly for genetic offensive weapons programs. BGI has been building this database in Wuhan. So what that is saying is that they are building genetic databases in Wuhan, the Chinese are, so that they can work out how to kill us faster. By genetics. That's what I get from that. BGI is heavily integrated into elite American universities, and I'd say Australian ones too. Chinese money is used for intellectual property, IP, and genetic theft. There is no question that BGI was created, subsidised, and controlled by the CCP to weaponise genetics for China. One sec, guys. Yes, I'm smoking, sorry. BGI test kits were banned from California by the CIA as they were deemed a security threat. ASIO and ASIS, pure deep state organisations, have allowed BGI to operate unhindered in Australia. They authorised the BGI RT-PCR test to replace the existing Aussie kits. So how could the CCP potentially create the Victorian outbreak? It all comes down to false positives. A false positive occurs when someone is tested for SARS-CoV-2 and returns a positive test, but is actually virus-free. It all comes down to fake positives. A false positive occurs when someone is tested for SARS-CoV-2 and returns a positive test, but is actually virus-free. They are normal, but the test says they are not. False positives are measured by the specificity False positives are measured by the False positives are measured by the specificity of the tests. If a test is 100% specific, then no false positives occur. In other words, every positive test is correct. No testing kit ever has 100% specificity under clinical conditions. Geez, that's really hard to get your mouth around, that one. Specificity. So by Colleroy, if a test is not 100% specific, then you get false positives, and hence people being told they have COVID-19 when they don't. Theoretically, if the specificity is low, say arbitrarily lower than 98%, less than 98%, then the outbreak could build and continue forever, so long as testing continues. Thus, test creates never-ending false positives, even if the virus has actually disappeared. Contract tracing of false positive people creates more testing and more false positives. Indeed, for this very reason, PCR was never intended by the inventors to be a population screening test. RT-PCR was only meant to be used on selected patients with high index of suspicion. Nevertheless, it's been rolled out essentially as a population screen. Here's where we went wrong. Dear me. So why would this create an outbreak and deaths? Whoops, I went the wrong way. As you know, most deaths have occurred in nursing homes. Sadly, 40% of new admissions to nursing homes die within 9 months. The normal mortality rate in nursing homes is, of course, very high. So if you mass screen nursing home patients with low index of suspicion, which is currently occurring in Victoria, then many will be labelled as positive when they didn't have it. Obviously, many of these false positive patients will die. This happens in nursing homes. And I just want to... Yep. Hence, the daily hype of these deaths and positive tests could be a fraud if the test kits have low specificity. Get it? So let's have a hard look at the BGL test kits in Australia. As far as I'm aware, nobody has questioned them. There are some serious gaps in these tests that we must seriously ponder and hypothesize. However, before I get to these gaps, I must do some medfagging so you understand the process of how false positives can occur with the RT-PCR test kits. Please bear with me before I get to the important stuff. False positives can occur due to collection from the wrong patient and mislabelling, transcription mistakes, wrong result, data entry by the lab scientist, incorrect interpretation of the results by the lab scientists, and contamination of primary specimen. Okay, just wanted to make sure there was no more written there. Contamination of reagents in the kit by amplicon, piece of RNA used in testing process. 6. Contamination by control standard. 7. Self-priming by amplification of non-specific PCR products from multiple cycling above the cycling threshold, CT. I have no idea what that means, but anyway, we'll keep going. 8. Non-target genetic material cross-reactivity. So let's focus on the last one. Maybe you've heard of people being worried about testing may cross-react with the common cold, influenza or other pneumonias. This is a very valid concern. The test kits use things called primers and probes. These are designed by the manufacturer to attach to parts of the target virus. That one there. If I say it, I'm trying to get my ads through, but I can't. Many different primers, probes could be used to get the job done. Many are essentially a mirror image of an interval or portion of the target section of RNA to be identified. You do not want to choose primers, probes which also attach and identify other viruses such as the common cold, of which 15% are coronaviruses. Obviously, if this happens, you'll be identifying the wrong virus and be getting a false positive result. So choosing the right primer probe is critical to prevent cross-reactivity and identify the correct virus. So which primers probes are being used by the Beijing Genomics Institute, BGI, and their Victorian test kits? Okay, so now I understand it now that I've read more of it. We don't know. This has been kept secret by BGI as to which primers and probes are being used. If we knew the primers probes, we could input the nucleotide sequences into BLAST or FASTA to find the exact cross-reactivity to other viruses. Thus, we would be able to ascertain the robustness of the testing kits. And there's a link in here. And I'll let you go and look at this for yourself. I'll put the link in the description of the video down below. BLAST is a database of genetic sequences of pathogens held by the NCBI, National Centre for Biotechnology Information. If we knew the primers probes, we would 100% know the cross-reactivity and have full confidence in the test kits, assuming no cross-reactivity found. Why did the Australian Victorian Government allow a CCP manufacturer to provide primers probes that Australia cannot identify? This is a national security issue for a virus which has destroyed our economy. So let's play devil's advocate and consider how the CCP could create an outbreak in Victoria. Note, remember the outbreak is only occurring in Victoria where the BGL test kits, platforms, machines, reagents are almost only being used. All other states have minimal positive cases and deaths without these kits. Indeed, the sensitivity of the Aussie kits were almost 100%, say 99.9 in New South Wales, calculated by the very low, true or false positive rates and large number of tests. It's very simple. All the CCP would need to do would be to send batches of kits with different dodgy primers and probes. They could seed, say, 5% of their kits in a batch with subtly different randomised primes probers, and nobody would be the wiser. It's all a secret anyways. So then just use these dodgy testing kits on nursing home patients, and any that die with a false positive test will be construed as having died of that virus. Indeed, the CCP could accelerate or decelerate the outbreak simply by the proportion of dodgy primers, probes, reagents in each batch of kits. Look, I'm not saying this is happening. I believe it's not. It is only a remote possibility. I happen to believe you might be right. However, we've outsourced validation of the Victorian outbreak to the CCP for no logical reason. There you go. This is a matter of national security with immense social and economic sequelae. Did I say that right? So in effect we have accidental abhorrent false positives, deliberate abhorrent false positives. Do not look for these terms in medical textbooks. I just pulled them out of my left nasal fossé 5 minutes ago. Fossé? Oh, I can't pronounce these medical terminologies. Combined, they are known as the McGregor principle. I like that one. Even the BGI software could be externally hacked to swing results any which way, like American voting machines. Furthermore, at any stage of the pre-analytical, analytical, or post-analytical processes, the CCP could inject one-backed human intelligence to garner a desired outcome. It's called HUMINT. Oh, who was this guy out of? Maxwell Smart. Was he? Was that the guy in Maxwell Smart? I used to watch that when I was little. Okay, so what has been done by way of transparency? The Doherty Institute in Melbourne has done a post-market validation study of the BGI kits. Importantly, this study was done on select BGI kits in April before the mass importation of kits in mid-May. So what did the study find? It found a difference in specificity, with some as low as 97.5%, even excluding pre-analytical errors between batches or lots of the BGL kits. And there is the government health site. You would think this would be a red flag. Nope, they recommended the BGL kit, saying it was within parameters. No explanation was given for the poor specificity of certain batches, lots, but I assume they thought it was due to reagent amplicons. Importantly, they've not done any more quality control studies on the new mass batches of test kits, reagents, which BGI has supplied since May. Unbelievable. No more quality control of BGI against gold standard Australian control tests. I also note there is no disclosure by the Doherty Institute regarding Chinese affiliations, endorsements or grants. As you may recall, I was the first Australian citizen journalist to note the association between AAHL, Geelong, Victoria and the engineered virus. ASIO and ASIS knew of the AAHL link to Wuhan and did nothing. I feel this must be factored into their reluctance to ban BGI. As an aside, AAHL has just changed its name to ACDP. Nice one. By the way, BGI has a subsidiary in Wuhan too. NATA, National Association of Testing Authorities, and VIDRL, Victorian Infectious Diseases Research Laboratory. Get your act together and give confidence to the Australian community. Please perform ongoing multiple independent quality control studies of Beijing Genomics Institute, BGI, COVID products now. We need to know this is not a CCP pandemic in Victoria. Peer review appreciated. End. And that was the end of that one. That was a good thread. And it's highly possible, considering all this information, if there is another medical person who can peer review, oh, please, I hope they do. Because this, I believe... Okay, what would happen if we thought this was just China doing this whole virus? Would everyone take their masks off and walk out of their house and refuse to go along? Okay, guys, you let me know what you think down below. This was a pretty good thread. They all have been. And they're interesting. And I think we need to sort of open our minds and think. Even, look, a sign of an intelligent mind is being able to look at things without accepting everything. And to consider ideas. It doesn't mean you have to believe them, but it is good to keep an open mind. Okay, guys, I hope you have a good one. Let me know what you think down below. And I will talk to you. I'm trying to work out the live stuff. I think I've got the camera on a good angle now. I will try to do it. I'm kind of waiting for the weekends, because weekends are a little easier, because if I do it in the morning here in Australia, people are going to be at work and it'd be night in the US. And if I do it at night here, people may be in bed by the time Americans wake up. So it is quite hard to get it. I've got to look up all the time zones and see what's what and who's where, and the UK as well. I've got to be try and be thoughtful of everyone all round. So but it'll either be morning or night when I do it. And I may do a test before that, guys. So if you see me pop up and it lasts about 5 or 10 minutes, unless I get a lot of people on there, and then I may stay on and finish it. But I will have to test it first to make sure I'm not flying away or turning reptilian or anything like I did last time. Oh, that was the funniest thing. Okay, guys, well, have a good one, and I will talk to you very soon. Okay, bye.